Hari 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 Om Tas. Hari Om Tas. Jai Guru. Jai Guru. Shuddho Buddho Vimuktaha Shruti Shikhara Giram Mukhyatat Parya Bhumi Yasmad Jadam Samastam Jagadidam Amrtat Vyapya Sarvam Sthido Yaha Yasyam Sham Shabatareihi Suranaravanajairakshidam Sarvametad Tam Bhumanam Mukundam Hridigatam Amalam Krishnameva Prapadye Tam Bhumanam Mukundam Hridigatam Amalam Krishnameva Prapadye Madhya Hridaya Kashe Sadanandamayo Guruhu Udetu Satatam Samyag Swatmananda Prabodhakaha. Harihi 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 Om Tats. Jai Guru. As usual, we shall recite 3 times jointly the Omkara, and I would like you, by your own introspection, application of the mind and the intelligence, to ensure that this joint recitation permeates the whole of the earth, showering its benedictions on all creatures upon the earth. This can be ensured by your own mind and its thought process, feeling process. Interlock your fingers and put them on your lap. Sit comfortably erect. Close your eyes. Open the mouth and the heart and join me. Harihi, Harihi, Harihi. Now we shall recite Arjuna's note of surrender and asking Krishna to teach him as a guru will a disciple. Karpanya dosho bhagata swabhavaha.
Karpanya dosho bhagata swabhavaha.
Karpanya dosho bhagata swabhavaha.
Karpanya dosho bhagata swabhavaha.
Pruchhami tvam.
Pruchhami tvam.
Dharma sammudha chetaha.
Dharma sammudha chetaha.
Yachreyasya.
Yachreyasya.
Nishchitam bruhi tanme.
Nishchitam bruhi tanme.
Shishyasteham.
Shishyasteham.
Shadhimam.
Shadhimam.
Tvam prabannam.
Tvam prapannam.
Shishyasteham.
Shishyasteham.
Shadhimam.
Shadhimam.
Tvam prabannam.
Tvam prapannam.
We we are discussing an important part of Bhagavad Gita and also an important part of the 4th chapter. The discussions primarily started from a very profound and significant verse, which is most misunderstood and misinterpreted even today. Verse number 13 of the 4th chapter. Chadurvarnyam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram abhimam vidya kartaram avyayam. The human society, Krishna says, has been divided into 4 classifications, 4 groups. This division is on the basis of their tendencies operating in the mind and the activities visible in the body and bodily organs. See, society means what? Society means a collection of people. An individual alone cannot live in this world and ensure the lineage. At least 2 people, a man and a woman, are required. If our vamsha, our lineage has to continue. And 2 people alone also will not make a society, nor can they live. After all, we are living upon a very huge earth. It's a very huge earth. And 2 people living here will not practically mean anything. We have physical needs, psychological needs, intellectual needs, ego needs also. In order to fulfill all these, a variety of factors are necessary. They will have to commingle beautifully. So if the society has to exist with cohesion, viability, mutuality, collectivity, with multiple contributions from a variety of sources, so that the society is enabled to live comfortably and beautifully, then there should be differences in the tendencies of people, in the activities of the people, in the thinking pattern and what not. We want a set of people who will ensure education for our children. Another set of people who will administer the country and the society with stern laws and enforcement. A group of people should be there to do policing and to look after the boundaries of the country. There should be extensive farming, equally so trade and industry. Now, not all people will have all the tendencies. No one will have many tendencies. So all these requirements have to be met only because of the division in the psycho-intellectual level of people. Now Krishna speaks about a 4-fold division. I have already said that. Instead of 4, you can have 6, you can have 10. It is all a question of how much you want to pose it and whether you can explain it away properly to the understanding of all concerned. So he speaks about a 4-fold tendency. Now don't say, this is a tendency created by man. It is a tendency incorporated by the complex nature itself. If nature has a Lord, you call him God, then you can say, through nature, I have instituted this kind of a variety in the humankind. I spoke about Varna. Varna means color, and color is what enables you to find out a shape and other distinguishing features. We have so many Ayurvedic medicines. Many of them are herbs. How can we identify these herbs? Only from the color of the leaf, or color of the trunk, or color of the root. So the color is an identification. It is very, very important. Even the people, the police have got their uniform, military has their uniform. It is for identification. So, how will you identify the human beings into the 4 categories? It is seeing their tendencies at work through their activities and interactions. So we call them Varna. People of this kind of an activity and tendency, you can identify as Brahmanas, similarly Kshatriyas, similarly Vaishyas, and similarly Shudras. It is not a question of one becoming superior to the other. Now we have 5 fingers in our hands. You will find they fold in a beautiful complementing manner. Suppose you don't have the thumb, your grip will not be firm. Similarly, if you miss any of the fingers, you will find the purpose of the hand will not be fulfilled. So they are mutual and complementary. In the same manner, all the 4 are mutual and complementary. Krishna instantly adds that. Namam karmani tasya kartaram abhimam vidya kartaram abhiyam. Though these tendencies are at work, preserved and instituted by nature, and I am supposed to be the source of everything including nature, don't think that I have any kartrutva or doership in the whole process. I have such a position that I am totally indifferent to anything. Nothing will affect me. Nothing will befall me. I always say, like a huge tree and the pith of the tree. This is no clear full example. Nothing can be a full example. Because we are taking illustrations from the object world and we are trying to explain away something which is clearly subjective, opposed to the object. So something opposed to the object, how can an object illustration seek to explain it? It is not possible. Though I am seemingly the cause behind all these things, understand that akartaram avyam. I am imperishable, inexhaustible, and I am a non-doer and a non-performer. You take the universe itself. We are living upon the earth, the solid existence in the universe. We are surrounded by water, ocean. We are then surrounded by air. There is also fire. And all are surrounded by the sky. Are you with me? Now, all these 4 elements out of the Panchabhutas, the solid earth, the fluid water, the gaseous air, and the brilliant and hot fire, all of them are vibrant and active. But when you come to the 5th Bhuta, the sky or the Akasha, do you know that it is all pervasive and it is motionless? In the background of the motionless existence alone, these 4 elements are able to perform their roles. Everything within the universe is vibrant and moving. There is nothing that is non-vibrant anywhere in the universe, in the minute level and in the macro level. But the universe taken as a whole cannot, will not and does not move. So the non-moving universe and the moving contents within the universe, they are complementary and mutual. If the universe were also moving, the contents would not be able to remain steady as they are. Now this is a question of elevating your vision, trying to see the perishable and extensive universe, understand it, try to think about it, reflect upon it, introspect over it, make inquiry, as Newton did by seeing an apple fall. All the others picked up the apples and ate. But Newton was wondering why all the apples are falling perpendicularly, parallelly. Why don't they fly? He thought and persisted in inquiring for about a year before he could uncover the force of gravity of the earth. Every one of you should think. Are we only the body? Are we only the mind? Are we only the intelligence and the ego? Or there is something else? Every day you remain awake for 16 hours of the day. And equally so, you are sleeping dead asleep for 8 hours of the day. The day consists of 24 hours. 2/3 you are active, 1/3 you are totally inactive. Is it that you are only in the wakeful hours, or you are also equally present in sleep? In the wakefulness you are vibrant, active and interactive. But in the sleep you are absolutely still. You are nowhere and you are nothing. Can anybody contradict me? In sleep, you are not conscious of the body, mind, intelligence and ego, not conscious of the world, conscious of nothing. You sleep. You have no hunger, no thirst, no thought, no feeling, nothing. A relative may die by your side if you are sleeping, his death doesn't occur to you. In that sleep you are for 8 hours of the day. And the I in the sleep, what was it? Did it have a body? No. Mind? No. Nothing. It's not acting, it's not breathing, nothing it does. It is the same I that was awake that goes into sleep, again wakes up. There is no difference. So don't you have the vibrant and wakeful I of the wakefulness and the still poised and nothing and nowhere I also? If these two can be complements, if these two can coexist, what? Wakefulness and sleep, and hence the wakeful I and the sleeping I can coexist. Cannot this also be coexisting? As we are active bodily, mentally, intellectually and ego level, in the ego level, so we are equally actionless beyond them. Beyond them. This is what Krishna emphasized in the 2nd chapter. Only my body was born, I was not born. This is true of you also, Arjuna. This is equally true of Bhishma, Drona and the others. And we were, there was no time when we were not. We are. And equally there will be no time when we shall not be. How is it that such a I is there, while birth, growth, decline and death are taking place serially? This is spirituality, my dear souls. Intelligible only to the intelligence of man, not to the senses. He says, Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spriha, idimam yobhijanadi karmabhir nasabedhyade. Everybody will agree traditionally that our jiva, the life factor in us, constituent in us, is a part of God. So if God is non-doing, we are also non-doing. If God is a non-doer, we are also a non-doer. A spark of fire is fire itself. Namam karmani limpandi. All the activities that go on in the world, all the activities that go on in the world do not affect me at all. Why? Name karma phale spriha. In any of the activities I do, I have no special purpose to be achieved. There is no desire, there is no greed, there is no possessiveness. Without ego, without possessiveness, without desire, any act that you perform, what kind of an effect or affectation it can cause to you? Nothing. Iti mam yobhijanadi. Krishna's personality is such. If you can understand it that way, as is Krishna or was Krishna, so also you will necessarily be. Because Krishna also had a human body, a human mind, a human intelligence and a human ego. He was born of Devaki and Vasudeva. He also lived. He was a close friend of Pandavas, particularly Arjuna. He only acted as a Kshatriya. A Kshatriya was supposed to be of a certain nature and kind. Any girl requesting the hand of a Kshatriya cannot be refused is the code for the Kshatriyas, because our country had, as I used to explain, a number of fights between the kingdoms of the country. At the time of independence, we were 600 kingdoms. So what should be the number of kingdoms in India when East India Company set its foot on this land? And there used to be fights, internecine fights. And all the fights are supposed to be what? Adventurous. It's a result of ambition. What is the ambition? I am a king now. I should conquer by neighboring kingdoms and become an emperor. This was the rule. This was the motivation for the warriors, the kings. So a number of Kshatriyas used to die. So the society did not have enough number of Kshatriyas, men. And women, they were not participating in the war. Therefore, a code was specially made for Kshatriyas that whichever Kshatriya woman comes and seeks your hand, you cannot refuse, you should accept. So polygamy was accepted there. It was a need for preservation. So, whoever wanted to marry Krishna, he married, that's all. Otherwise, he did not. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spriha idimam yobhijanadi karmabhir nasabadhyade. I have formed a sentence, not one, many. One of them is, there is a way of living in this world without being bound by it. There is a way of living in this world. You marry, you have children. The children may be good, may not be good, or both good and bad. You may have friends. Some may deceive you also. Anything happens in the external world, in the world of the senses, you can still remain totally unaffected and unconditioned. Our intelligence is capable of giving so much of stability and poise to the mind that you will find life beautiful, pleasant and fulfilling. Let anything happen in the world. My Gurudev used to say, there is a point where contradictions meet. I have added and dissolve. Yes, the mind is the forum in which all conflicts and contradictions parade, and you can dissolve them. They meet and dissolve. If a son can be bad, then the father should be sufficiently wise enough. If you can afford to be bad and indifferent, I am not going to be affected by it. Your behavior is yours, not mine. I refuse to partake in the whole process. Our mind is capable of saying this, achieving this. Our intelligence will help us. Spiritual wisdom is the means for it. So that is why Krishna explains it. Whoever understands me in this manner, he also will not be affected by any activities and interactions taking place in his life or around his. Evam jnatva kritam karma purvairapi mukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvaih purvadaram kritam. Evam jnatva kritam karma purvairapi mukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvaih purvadaram kritam. We have come to the 4th chapter, 15th verse. Now I will recite, follow. Evam jnatva kritam karma.
Evam jnatva kritam karma.
Evam jnatva kritam karma.
Evam jnatva kritam karma.
Purvairapi mumukshubhihi.
Purvairapi mumukshubhihi.
Purvairapi mumukshubhihi.
Purvairapi mumukshubhihi.
Kuru karmaiva tasmatvam.
Kuru karmaiva tasmatvam.
Purvaih purvataram kritam.
Purvaih purvataram kritam.
Kuru karmaiva tasmatvam.
Kuru karmaiva tasmatvam.
Purvaih purvataram kritam.
Purvaih purvataram kritam.
It is this kind of a knowledge about Krishna, about me and similar teachers of Brahma Vidya in our country, that our earlier people, sages, saints, austere people, tapaswins, and also other wise people, they were able to perform their work beautifully well here. If you want to perform well, you must have sufficient knowledge for it. And the spiritual wisdom enables you to do even the frightening karmas, huge karmas. Because the mind expands, constrictions fall, and you have a great degree of flexibility, power of assimilation, power of integration. A great degree of it you develop. Therefore, any karma becomes facile, easy and comfortable for you. Your mind, your intelligence, they thrive only by doing activity. Are you not eating every day? Yes. Eating means what? Giving sufficient calories to the body, as a result of which energy is built in the body. And that energy has to be spent only in the form of activity. Evam pravartidam chakram nanuvartayati haya aghayur indriya ramo mogham partha sajivadi. In the 3rd chapter, Krishna said that the whole world, there is a cosmic wheel. It is a wheel of activity, activity, activity. There is no living being in this world whose heart is not beating, whose lungs are not bellowing, whose blood is not circulating, and whose food does not generate energy. Look at the birds in our ashram, you can see the birds in the morning and the evening. All of them fly beautifully away. They come back only in the evening. Everything is active here. Without activity, how can you live? Suppose you stop all your activity and still continue to nourish your body, then you become fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. The doors have to be replaced in your house. So, by acquiring this kind of a spiritual wisdom alone, the ancients were able to work well. Which are the people he refers to? Purvairapi mumukshubhihi. Arjuna, you asked me, yat shreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me. That was your submissional prayer. Tell me, Krishna, how I can attain Shreyas in my life. Shreyas means moksha. Shreyas means atmajnana. Shreyas means jivan mukti. That Shreyas, seekers of the Shreyas, mumukshus, they have been able to perform their work without getting affected in this manner. In the same manner as your ancients have done, Arjuna, you also do. This war is not created by you. This war was insisted upon by Duryodhana. I myself, at the request of your brother Yudhishthira, went as an ambassador for peace to Hastinapura. I talked to them in a very persuasive manner on your behalf and also on my own behalf in the end. But Duryodhana said, I will not give them a needle point of space, he said. Krishna pleaded for 5 villages for the 5 brothers to live, making a hutman for them. He said, I will not give you a needle point of space. If they want their kingdom, let them fight and get back. Tell me now, what is the way for you? Kuru karmaiva tasmahatvam purvaih purvataram kritam. Like the ancient people have done, in the same manner you also do. There is nothing new. So many people have fought, so many people have died. In fact, the larger percentage of Kshatriya men will always be dying in the battlefield. Not on the cot, not on the chair, not in the house. Are you all listening to me? Are you prepared to listen? See, I have been discussing Bhagavad Gita for nearly 70 years. Not 70, 67 years. A little more. But nowhere at no time have I discussed Gita in this kind of a threadbare manner. I don't know whether I will be able to complete the discussion. Most probably, surely not. Because 700 verses are there. We are only on the 4th chapter. How many weeks I have to continue? Will my body live that long? Quite possibly not. So I want to discuss it in a very thorough manner. It is not the chapters I complete, but the discussions I do that matter. Now Krishna takes up karma itself as a subject. The word karma means activity, activity, activity. We are using words, we will say living life, living life. But I have asked people, can you tell me what is life? Swamiji, you are asking a very uncomfortable question. I have never thought of life. Everybody will say, the 80-year-old, the 18-year-old, the 50, 60, 70. We have never thought about life. Unless you think about your life, how can you make it good, sweet, fulfilling? All attitudes commence, they proceed, emerge from the mind. All understanding also emerge from the intelligence. Unless you touch and involve your mind and intelligence in all that you do, no progress can be had. So you have to be thoughtful. You have to be intellect. Introspection is necessary. So he discusses the subject of karma. What is meant by karma? Our Vedas say, do this and do not do that. So the Vedic literature is fully speaking about placing before you prohibitions and injunctions. Vidhi and Nishedha. So much so that Jaimini Maharshi evaluated that only such Vedic sentences which have either a prohibition or an injunction should be treated as Vedic sentences. All the others should be push. Put a red cross and dispose it off. He called it eulogistic. Arthavada, he said. Shankaracharya looked at the same Vedas and the same Upanishads and he said, so many vidhis and nishedhas are there. And a lot of revelation also is there in the Vedas. Sentences which reveal the truth, they alone are to be held, are to be accepted. Others should be disposed of. Both of them are looking at the same sacred literature. And one says Vidhi and Nishedha are supreme, another says the revelation of truth is supreme. Suppose Vedas say fire is hot. Will anybody care for the Vedas? We already know fire is hot. Why should Vedas say milk is white, ice is cold? Vedas must tell us something which we cannot otherwise know. Then only we will look into the Vedic source. So there is something which we don't know. What is it? That which is within our body. Our eyes can see, our ears can hear, our nose can smell, tongue can taste, and skin can touch only external objects. But what is within the body, the eyes cannot see, the ears cannot hear, nor the nose, tongue, and skin perceive. Then when Vedas say, we have to be careful. My dear man, the Vedas say, you are not the body. You only have a body. The body is something that you have. I have a body, you say. I have hunger and thirst. I have a stomach pain, you say. When you say, I have a pain and that is in the stomach, in my stomach I have a pain. That my stomach and the pain in the stomach, can it be thine? I only know it. I only feel it. So I am the feeler. I am the experiencer. And the pain and the stomach are experienced. So I am different from the experienced. I am the experiencer. That I is different from the body, my dear man. Know it. When Vedas say, you have to heed it. because there is no other way of knowing it. Then you listen to the Vedas. Is it so? Please tell me a little more. So the Vedas go on explaining in the Upanishads, and ultimately makes you a knower of truth. So far as activity is concerned, what activity? Which activity? Is there anything called divine activity separately from secular activity? The divine activity is also done by the same human body. The secular activity is also done by the same human body. The activity is being done by the same body. What do you call divine and what do you call secular? What is the authentic basis on which you are able to make a division? So the point is to be sufficiently thought about. So Krishna institutes a process. Are you finding it interesting, my dear listeners, viewers? Kim karma, kim akarmeti, kavayopyatra mohitaha, tatre karma pravakshyami, yajnatva mokshyase ashubhad. You know, the discussion has become very absolute. It has become very, very subtle. It is no more a fight. It is no more a Kurukshetra affair. It is no more between a Krishna and an Arjuna. It is between the wise and enlightened intelligence on the one hand and the deluded and fearful mind on the other. It is an eternal dialogue between the enlightened intelligence and the deluded human mind. So he says, Kim karma, kim akarmeti, kavayo pyatra mohidaha, tatte karma pravakshyami, yajnatva mokshase ashubhat. What a wonderful statement. To stimulate the intelligence, to ignite the intelligence, to lead the intelligence, to rationally inquire into propositions and trying to understand them in their subtlest essence, whatever they depict. Kim karma, kim akarmeti.
Kim karma, kim akarmeti.
Kim karma, kim akarmeti.
Kim karma, kim akarmeti.
Kavayopyatra mohitaha.
Kavayopyatra mohitaha.
Kavayopyatra mohitaha.
Kavayopyatra mohitaha.
Tatte karma pravakshyami.
Tatte karma pravakshyami.
Tatte karma pravakshyami.
Tatte karma pravakshyami.
Yajnatva mokshase ashubhad.
Yajnatva mokshase ashubhad.
Yajnatva mokshase shubhad.
Yajnatva mokshase ashubhad.
My dear listeners, viewers, are you with me? I am asking you. Have you ever thought of in this manner? Kim karma? What is meant by karma? Action, activity. Kim akarmedi? What is meant by non-action and non-activity? Kavayopyatra mohidaha. Even the most profoundly intelligent, wise people are confused and deluded about this. What do you say? This is India, my dear souls. This is our holy land, where the human personality and all its expressions have been analyzed in a threadbare manner. What are we? What is our body? I am speaking to you. In the whole speaking process, do I know anything? Where are ideas formed? Doctors will say that it is in the brain. I have never seen my brain. I am told that it is above the neck, here, above the eyebrows. All parts of the brain, the doctors say, are not yet understood even today. Their ideas are getting formed. And these formed ideas are communicated to the vocal system. And the vocal system processes the ideas. And finally, with the help of tongue and throat, lips, teeth, etc., it comes out in the form of articulation sound. I only hear my speech. I never think my speech. I don't know. I don't know where the ideas are formed. An action is done. See, I am moving my hands. How are the hands moving? While speaking, I am moving. So speaking is an activity. Concurrently, the movement of hands also takes place. Who coordinates all this? What is actually an action? Where from does it originate? Where does it subsist on? And how does it conclude? Are our physical activities only because of the physical body? Certainly not. Our heart pumps blood. It beats regularly, ceaselessly. Our lungs are bellowing, bellowing, bellowing. Our brain is signaling. The brain needs blood supply. It equally needs oxygen. So its function is depending upon the heart and the lungs. And so far as the heart and the lungs are concerned, they need every time signals from the brain. So here are three organs. They are mutually dependent. So what is the fourth factor which makes them function with interdependence? Up to now, it has not been found and known by medical science, if my information is correct. See the analysis of Krishna 5059 years back within the din and bustle of Kurukshetra battlefield, where 4.5 million warriors had assembled with bow and arrow, ready to discharge the arrow against the enemies. They are holding their breath, seeing the dialogue that was taking place between Arjuna and Krishna. Kim karma, kim akarmeti, kavayopyatra mohidaha. Even the wisest people are deluded. Tatte karma pravakshyami. With this introduction, Krishna says, I will tell you what is real activity. Yet jnatva mokshase ashubhad. By knowing what is activity, I don't know whether I should stand up. How to grab your attention and focus it on this point. Tate karma pravakshyami yajnatva mokshase ashubhad. All the inauspicious things of your life will be warded off by this knowledge, not by a ritual, not by a seeming austerity, not by fasting, not by pilgrimage, not by worshipping an idol. By knowing this. By knowing this, yet jnatva mokshase ashubhad. All the feeling and fear that you have about this war, will it not bind us? Will it not send us to hell? Will it not lead to indefinite hell life? You are fearing. None of them will affect you at all. Yet jnatva mokshase ashubhad. So in order to get redeemed from all kinds of affectations, inauspiciousness in life, what should you do? You should know what is karma and what is akarma. Everybody says and feels that I am doing. Tell me what is meant by doing. When do you call a certain action an action? Where from does it proceed? Where does it subsist? And when does it conclude? Where is the control? Where is the cause? What is the sequence? Tatte karma pravakshyami yajnatva mokshase ashubhat. And what is this discussion for? This discussion is to dispel all kinds of fear, delusion, grief, etc. from your mind about action. The most notorious and powerful action is warfare. War is the most complex pursuit of the administration, public administration. The individuals cannot fight, the societies cannot fight, only an organized military can fight. It is not one person, but several people. It's a huge administration, the whole military. How many military personnel do we have in India? So, the purpose of war is to kill the enemies, conquer them. Kill, kill, kill. It is a pursuit in which there are only two words, kill or get killed. Kill or get killed. Kill or get killed. Kim karma kimakarmedi kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshyami yajñātva mokshase ashubhat. For all kinds of seeming sin, fear, delusion, ignorance, all about karma, there is only one solution, jnana, jnana. Let your intelligence be enlightened, illumined about what is what. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gati. I don't know whether you have an imaginative mind. What is it that we are discussing? And where are we seated? Krishna is standing on the chariot, holding the reins of 4 horses, and he is turning backward to talk to Arjuna, who was unable to stand, left the bow and arrow and sat on the chariot. It is such a discussion that we are discussing. And the discussion has risen to such a level that they are going into the subtleties of action. What is action? What is inaction or non-action? And what is called vikarma? Karma, vikarma and akarma. Are you with me? Karma, action. And what is meant by vikarma? It must be something like a very special action. Then thirdly, akarma means non-action. Whenever you say akarma, you will have to explain what is its opposite. See, can you understand darkness except in the context and as opposed to light? Can there be mathematics without zero? And what is zero? So, karmano hyapi bodhavyam. Did I say for recitation? No. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam.
Karmano hyapi bodhavyam.
Bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha.
Bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha.
Akarmanascha bodhavyam.
Akarmanascha bodhavyam.
Gahana karmano gatihi.
Gahana karmano gatihi.
In spiritual parlance particularly, even otherwise, when you start discussing the subject of karma, it becomes very profound. You are sleeping. While sleeping, you move your hands and feet so many times. Maybe you are driving away a mosquito. But do you think these actions really are done by you because you are asleep? A person is under anesthesia and operation is done on his body, removing some parts, stitching, etc. All these actions, actually is he conscious of it? So what is meant by an action? An action is not the mere movement or vibration of the actional organs. In that activity as such, the mind should be involved, the intelligence should be involved, an attitude should be instilled into the action, and an objective also should be associated. So it is the attitude and objective that decide a kind of an action. Mere movement of the body or organs will not constitute an action. So he says, karmano hyapi bodhavyam. One should know what is meant by a karma, an activity. Bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha. Equally so, you should understand what is a vikarma. Vikarma means vishesha or vishishta karma. Akarmanascha bodhavyam. Similarly, karma, its opposite is akarma. That also one should know. Gahana karmano gati. The course of activity is very abstruse, hard to understand. Hard to understand. Just see. Arjuna started crying, seeing Bhishma and Drona. Tears were rolling from his eyes. He was unable to stand. The body shivered, trembled. The mouth went dry. The Gandiva, his bow, slipped from his hand. And the intelligence says, don't fight, it is very sinful. He was unable to stand and sat. To that Arjuna, Krishna is speaking, and in the 4th chapter it became the subtlest of philosophy, the greatest of the cultural refinement that our ancestors had acquired and preserved exemplarily. Can you imagine? I always say the Hindu mind is a fertile mind. It may start thinking about a subject, discussing about a subject. Let it be any subject. Very soon it will become philosophical, spiritual and yogic in all the dimensions of delivery. So what is karma should be known, what is non-karma also should be known, and what is vishesha karma also should be known. So Krishna himself makes 3 divisions, karma, vikarma and akarma. And he says, all these have to be known. Because the course and the outcome of karma are very hard to understand. They are very, very abstruse, subtle, and work in the inmost level of the human personality. I am sometimes wondering, will all of you be interested in such subtle discussions? But Arjuna was. Not only Arjuna was, it was necessary for him. For what? Not to do tapasya, but to fight the Mahabharata war. And the war was his option. It was his pursuit. It was his beloved mission, which he was unable to do. Only when Krishna enlightened him about all this, he became powerful, resourceful and ready. So this philosophy was delivered not to make man idle or not to make him drive away into the solitude of the forest. It was given to him to stand firmly, stably, with poise, confidence, clarity and resolve in the chariot itself and fight the 18-day bloody war. Karmanya karmayah pasyed akarmani ja karmayah sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayukta krishna karma kriti. Karmanya karmayah pasyed
Karmanya karmayah pasyed
akarmani ja karmayah
akarmani cha karmayah
sabuddhiman manushyeshu
sabuddhiman manusyeshu
sayuktah krishna karma kriti.
sayuktah krishna karma kriti.
This is the most profound verse in Bhagavad Gita. It gives you such a perception, such an evaluation, such an insight, such an assessment that all your problems about life and activity will be resolved forever. Whether you are married or unmarried, father, parents or no parents, all problems about activity will be totally wiped off. Karmani akarma yaha pashyet. Akarmani cha karmayaha. He gives a twofold vision. What is that? Karmani akarma yah pashyet. Whoever is able to see inaction in action, non-action in action. I wish I was together with my audience. Then I shall be able to judge their reception and talk in a nice manner. Now I am left alone. I am looking at the camera and talking. You are able to see me there, but I cannot see any one of you. Karmani akarma yah pashyet. Karmani, singular number, in action, in action, activity. Yaha, whoever, pashyet, will see. Akarma. You may be intensely active. Tell me what is the meaning of intense activity? What do you mean by activity? Activity of the hands, activity of the eyes, activities of the mouth, activity of the legs. We have 5 karmic actional organs. What are they? Hands, feet, mouth, evacuation and genitals. These are the actional organs we have. We do most of the work with legs and hands. Then we speak. That is not so consequential for daily activity, running about, etc. Primarily hands and feet. The eyes help you to see, the ears to hear, but the activity is done primarily by hands and legs. If you are a teacher, then your tongue and mouth are becoming very active. Otherwise it is used only for eating. Karmani akarma yah pashyet. But are you the hands and feet? Are you the mouth and the tongue alone? So when the hands are moving, tell me, what percentage of your total personality is active? Similarly, when the legs are involved, what percentage of your total activity is involved? Do the legs know that they move? Do the hands know that they are holding? Or the knowing part of it? The driver is driving the vehicle. Does the vehicle know it's being driven? Does the vehicle know its movement? Who holds the brakes? Who has got the accelerator? So these actions are taking place in the physical level. But are you the physical body? No. What are you when you are asleep? Where is the real I? Is there not an I? Otherwise, who dreams? Who wakes up? So in that I level, where you say, I have done, I am acting, this is the consequence, I will have to bear it. In that I level, do you act? I agree that body is active, senses are active, mind is thinking active, intelligence is knowing, reasoning. Ego is asserting. In all these levels the activity is there. But in the beyond level where you say I, whose expression is the sleep. I slept comfortably, you say, after waking up. What was that I? Did he have a body then? Mind, intelligence, ego, world? So in that I level, are you active any time? Does it get involved in anything whatsoever? As the universe itself does not move, But all the contents of the universe are moving. So there is a non-moving I in you. Let the body be active, senses be active, but understand that the supra-sensory, the supra-mental, the supra-intellectual and the supra-ego presence called the I is not at all moving. No action proceeds from there and no effect or outcome befalls it. What did Krishna say about it? Achedyoyam, adahyoyam, akledyo, ashosyayevacha, nityaha, sarvagataha, sthanuhu, ajaloyam, sanatanaha. Bah! What did he say? It cannot be penetrated by weapons. It cannot be burned by fire. It cannot be wetted, moistened by water. It cannot be dried by wind. Nainam chindandi shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na jainam klayadayanti apo, na shoshayati marudaha. Achedyoyam, adahyoyam, akledyo, ashosyayevacha. Such a thing. How do you describe it? Nitya, eternal. Sarvagataha, all-pervading. Sthanuhu, immovable, like the sky, space. Ajaloyam sanatanaha, not vibrating or moving. Sanatanaha, eternal. My dear souls, what shall I do in order to make you understand this? Human intelligence is only meant for this. We simply say action, action. You are living in a huge house. Whatever takes place in the house anyway, maybe a wall falls. Will you fall? A rat ran in some room. Is it affecting you? You are different. The resident of the house is different from the house. Similarly, the indweller in the body, the I is different from the body. In that I level, no activity of the senses, body, mind, intelligence and ego, nothing can affect it, involve it. Even when the bodily level of activity goes on, similarly mento-intellectual level of activity is going on, you must be able to perceive the deeper, non-moving, profound, eternal, stable, imperishable presence of the Self, I. That insight into the I is going to resolve the problem. The problem of all actions and non-actions. Karmani akarmayah pashyet, akarmani cha karmayaha. Similarly, in non-action, what does it mean non-action? I am not going to do anything. So, what is it that you have done? You have withdrawn your physical actions and you are remaining seemingly in stillness. This stillness is applicable only to the body. But the mind is not still. The intelligence is not. Suppose, Arjuna, you get away from the battlefield saying, I am not able to fight. After getting away, the battlefield is gone. Remaining there, what will you think of? You will think of the battle that you abandoned. So the mind will be blazing with battle, blazing with battle. Akarmani cha karmayaha. When the physical body is restful, it does not mean the mind and the intelligence will also be equally restful. Certainly not. Sa buddhiman manushyeshu. He who is able to incorporate this dual vision, karmanya karma, akarmani karma. In the intense activity of the body and the senses, if he is able to perceive the presence of the soul totally higher and transcendental, similarly in seeming physical inaction, intense activity of the mind, saha buddhiman manushyeshu. He is the one wise person among many human beings. Sayuktaha Krishna karma kriti. He is inwardly the integrated person in whom the body is integrated with the mind is integrated with the intelligence is integrated with the I and the soul. There is a beautiful integration in him. His personality becomes integral. Krishna Karma Gridi. That person is said to be the all-performer. So the all-performer is not one who does anything, but who understands and has the right vision and is guided by it. I don't know whether you understand what I am saying. Krishna says, you should know what is karma, what is vikarma and what is akarma. But he speaks about only karma and akarma, never speaks about vikarma. Because this is sufficient. Whole problem is answered. Whatever be the nature of the activity that you perform, all that activity does not mean anything. So far as the inmost position of yourself, your personality, the soul is concerned, there no activity ever takes place. No vibration ever emerges. It remains uninvolved, unvibrant, non-active. The war is between bodies, not between souls. If a nuclear explosion takes place, earth will be affected, water will be affected, air will be affected, even the luminosity of the fire may perhaps be affected. But you should understand the space will not be affected. And the I and the soul in you is subtler than the space. Where is the question of the I getting affected? Karmanya karmayah pasyet akarmani cha karmayah sabuddhiman manushyeshu sayukta krishna karma krite. People are sometimes reporting about, I am a householder, I have this duty, I have that duty, I am this, I am that. What duty, what all things are you reporting? Oh, are you giving air to your children for breathing? Are you giving water? Have you made an earth for them to live? You were upon the earth and you delivered the child into the earth. Both of them are supported by the earth. Primary resources are from where? We are breathing the air that nature gives us. We are living because the heart is beating. You light the lamp when the heart beats. Not that the heart beats because you light a lamp. The earth is revolving. 67,000 kilometers an hour. It goes around the sun. The power that makes the earth revolve and the power that makes your heart breathe, are they different? Is it not the same? Is it not the same? So are you not connected to the infinite providence? By virtue of your own body, the heartbeat and the bellowing of the lungs. My dear souls, think openly, think deeply, think in an involved manner. Don't be superficial. Try to delve into the subject. Arjuna did it before the war began. Before the battling started, discharge of arrows began. But for this knowledge, he would not have been able to lift his Gandiva at all, which slipped from his hand. Sabuddhiman manushyeshu. So when the karma and akarma are properly understood, what will happen? You will become an enlightened person. And such an enlightened person is a blessing to the world, to Mother Earth. You can say he is an all-performer. In the 3rd chapter, Krishna said, Yastva atmaredireva syat atmatriptascha manavaha atmanyeva cha santushtaha tasya karyam na vidyate. Have you forgotten? Those people who are listening to me regularly, have they forgotten? Yastva atmaredireva syat atmatriptascha manavaha. This is verse number 17 of 3rd chapter. Atmanyeva cha santushtaha tasya karyam na vidyate. You know a man, if he succeeds in knowing the self and he becomes a self-knower, he has no duty at all to perform in the world for anybody. He seeks nothing from the world. Therefore, he has to give also nothing to the world. Yahathu atmaredireva syat. He who rejoices in the self. Atmatriptascha manavaha. Who is contented by his own self. Atmanyeva cha santushtaha. Who is delighted, who is rejoicing, delighted by the self. Tasya karyam na vidyate. He has no duty at all to perform. You know how Krishna died? When Brahma came down with a memorandum that he should go back, he heard Brahma and said, yes, I agree. The time has come for me to come back. I have fulfilled all the mission that I was meant to fulfill. But, it's a great message for all of you householders. What is that? By my own birth, exploits and excellences, my lineage, the Vrishnikula, has become proud. We have got a Krishna to our credit. And this pride has become so powerful that nobody can control them. Because I am there, they cannot flout me. They can be checked by me. The moment I go, they will be like seas overflowing the boundaries. They will bring downfall and destruction to the entire society. So, I want to destroy them and then go back. I will destroy them how? I will not fight. Just like the bamboo clusters strike each other and fire is born and the fire spreads and destroys the whole bamboo clusters. They will fight between themselves. They quarrel and fight and they will die. Then I will go. When they were fighting in Prabhasa Tirtha, Krishna went there to pacify them. You know, they started beating Krishna also. So he said, the last phase. He went away, sat, leaning against the tree. Then the hunter shot an arrow at his foot. Gone. Yastva atmaredireva syat atmatriptascha manavaha. Suppose one man knows the self and he is delighted by the self. He is rejoicing in the self. He has nothing more to get and give. Tasya karyam na vidyate. For him there is no karma, no kritya, no goal, no aim, no attitude, nothing to be fulfilled. So the knowledge of the self is something so great and profound that it takes you to such an exalted position from where you feel nothing I have to do. The Shastras have nothing to tell about such a person. All the activities are taking place within the beautiful range of ignorance. We are all what? Decorated and colorful idiots. That is what we are. Decorated idiots. If you decorate an idiot, will he become wise? I shall stop now. Think about what we have spoken very deeply, spending time and try to understand it. Even a spark of understanding you will find, it makes you very elevated, fear-free and full. Yes, I have stopped. I want to tell you something, share something with all of you. When is that Shibiram starting? For 17th. See, in Naimisharanyam Parlikad, we completed the Sabhaniketan, and last year on December 23, it was inaugurated, and the whole 10-day session was held there. People were wondering, and some people did raise the question, Swamiji, what are you going to do? This Srimad Bhagavata Tattva Samiksha Satram is only an yearly event for 10 days. Having such a good hall, what are you doing thereafter? I said, only when a facility is there, thoughts like this will arise. So something will, everybody can contribute. If you have some idea, let us know. The place is there. We don't have to put a pandal, spend a lot of money for it, lakhs of rupees. So the building is there. Whether it is raining or shining, it can be used. So from the 17th onwards for 1 month, we are going to have a beautiful Srimad Bhagavata Shibiram. It is primarily for children, young children. I think age is up to 17 or so. It is 1 week, I am told. For 1 week. It is going to be in Malayalam. I went through the syllabus that they are going to teach. Very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If children are exposed to this, I think it will be a lifelong contribution for them. One verse we are going to teach during the 1 week Shibiram is enough to transform a whole personality, give an insight. We conduct competitions during the Srimad Bhagavata Tattva Samiksha Satram. How beautifully people are writing students. I marvel at seeing and hearing them. Elocution, how beautifully. The subject is from Srimad Bhagavata. How powerfully they speak, how insightfully they talk. It's something very fantastic to see. So there is a time specifically given for playing. We will expose them to Srimad Bhagavata. I would like in Sabhaniketan a full session lasting for a year or a few months, where Srimad Bhagavata will be taught in a shastric form, not in a story narrational manner alone. Stories will be narrated, dialogues will be included and discussed, presentations will also be analyzed, everything will be done, but in a shastric scriptural manner. You know what is a shastra? A shastra is one which enlightens you in terms of reasoning and rationality, what is good and what is bad, what is desirable and what is undesirable, what is elevating and what is enervating, what is good, what is auspicious, everything is discussed. You can write a shastra on any subject. Shastra on walking, shastra on speaking, shastra on dressing, anything you can make. But when it's presented as a shastra, it becomes a scientific and rational treatise. Srimad Bhagavata is a profound one, profound one. So, this 1 week Shibiram is going to be occupying the children very well. They will be given a beautiful syllabus every day. They will begin the morning with a beautiful prayer, and beautiful subhashitams will be told them. How many beautiful subhashitams are there in India? I don't think any other country in this world has so much of proverbial statements. In about every aspect of human life it is there. Bhartrhari, the great poet, has written 3 centuries of verses. The first century is on Niti, truth and justice. The second is on Sringara, romance. I don't read it at all. The third is on dispassion. He analyzes the world, various features of the world, characteristics of the world. All of them when you hear, you will automatically grow dispassion. You don't have to cultivate it. Simply read. Read and rejoice what is written. If necessary, I shall give you 1 or 2 verses from Vairagya Sadaka and Niti Sadaka. You know, The entire focus is building the mind, the mental framework of the children. What are they taught? They are taught mathematics, physics, chemistry. Therefore what? What about the psychology? We are primarily a mental being, not a physical being. On the one hand you have the body, on the other you have the mind. Between the body and the mind, tell me if at all a comparison is possible, which is more important? And what do you do for it? 4 times you feed your body. But what kind of a food and nourishment are you giving to your mind, to intelligence every day? 1020 minutes you are awake. Harvard University says, at least 20 minutes you should meditate if you want to live well. What is meditation? Sitting in a place and trying to nourish your mind with its own food. You cannot feed the mind with the body, with the solid external food. So you have to feed the mind's own products, which the mind can tastefully, deliciously take in. So I wanted to tell you the first program that we are conducting in Sabhaniketan is a 1-week Shibiram for students, both boys and girls. It's going to be very wonderful, very wonderful. Let us see how it works. I shall tell you. Samvedya varjitamanottamamekamādyam Samvidpadam vikalanam kalayan mahatman hridyeva tishtha kalanarahita kriyam tu kurvan akartrapadamethya samodidashri kurvan akartrapadamethya samodidashri. Harihi, Harihi, Harihi. We shall have the conclusional Omkara. Take the pose for it. Let us recite jointly. Hari Om Tas. Jai Guru. Jai Guru.